Chloe always had this rule. If we went a week without talking, it meant we were breaking up for good. For the entire year we dated, she'd bring it up whenever we argued, holding it over me like a threat. During our last fight, she did it again. With a completely cold expression, she deleted my number and blocked me on everything before walking away without a single look back. It was in that moment that I finally understood how broken our relationship had become. I stopped trying to send her another friend request. I stopped thinking about chasing after her, of pleading with her to take me back. Instead, I quietly went into the university application portal and changed my first choice school, making sure to pick one far away from any place she might end up. A week went by quickly. Her friends started messaging me, trying to nudge me back into my old role. "Chloe's not actually mad anymore," one of them wrote. "She's just waiting for you to say you're sorry. If you keep being so stubborn and she really ends things, you'll be the one left regretting it." I just looked at the message and laughed to myself before typing back a simple reply. "Yeah, then let's just break up. It's what she wanted." The memory of that last fight was still fresh. The summer sun was beating down, making the pavement shimmer with heat, but Chloe's face was anything but warm. Beneath a surface of indifference, I could see a thick layer of impatience brewing in her eyes. "I've told you so many times," she said, her voice sharp. "Leo and I have known each other since we were kids. I just think of him as a little brother, and I look out for him. Can you stop being so jealous over nothing all the time? It's genuinely exhausting." This time, I didn't say anything. Unlike all the other times, my eyes didn't get red with frustration or the need to defend myself. I just stood there thinking how pointless it was, how tired I was of having this same argument over and over again. Seeing me silent with my head down, Chloe's tone suddenly softened, a familiar tactic in our cycle of fighting and making up. "Okay, look, I know you get jealous easily, so I'll try to keep more distance from him in the future." A complicated wave of emotion washed over me, and despite my resolve, I felt my eyes start to water again. Maybe she was right. Maybe there really was nothing going on between them, just like she had insisted countless times. If she really had feelings for Leo, why would she have ever started dating me in the first place? But then she followed up with her real point. "But you have to promise me something too. Because you got so angry, people were calling Leo a homewrecker last time. You know how much words like that can hurt a guy's reputation." The sound of the cicadas in the trees suddenly seemed deafening, buzzing loudly in my ears. My heart, which had momentarily lifted, felt like it was sinking into a deep, cold pit. I looked up at Chloe, at her face that was so familiar but now seemed like a stranger's. "What do you want?" I asked. "Find a chance to talk to people and clear his name, will you? He was so upset about it yesterday that he didn't even eat dinner." "No," I said, cutting her off before she could finish. Chloe paused, a flicker of surprise on her face that quickly turned into visible annoyance. "Say that again." "I said no," I repeated, clenching my fists at my sides to keep my voice from shaking. "Fine," she said, a strange, almost amused smile on her lips. She pulled out her phone and, with practiced ease, navigated to my contact and blocked me. "Alex," she said, looking at me with a coldness that felt out of place in the summer heat, "if you have any guts, don't you dare come crawling back to me." That night, one of her friends sent me a screenshot of a new post Chloe had made. The caption read, "My little neighborhood brother from childhood is all grown up now." Attached were 2 photos. The first showed her and Leo as 3-year-olds, holding hands and smiling so wide their eyes were shaped like crescents. The second was a recent picture of them. They weren't holding hands anymore, but they were looking at each other, and both of them had that same smiling-eyed expression. Leo had commented below it, "I'm just as cute as I was back then, right?" Chloe's reply was quick. "Still just as greedy, you little flirt." Her friend added a message with the screenshot. "See? Chloe really does just see him as a brother. This post is just to clear things up so people don't get the wrong idea." I didn't bother replying. I just laughed bitterly to myself. She wasn't clearing things up for me. She was clearing Leo's name so people wouldn't think he was the one who broke us up. After I took a shower and was drying my hair, I thought about the box of Polaroid pictures I had of me and Chloe. I pulled the photo album out from the bottom of my desk drawer and packed it up with everything else she had ever given me. I made a plan to find a good place to get rid of it all the next day. Right before I went to sleep, my phone buzzed. It was a message from a number I didn't recognize. There was no text, just a single picture attached. It was a photo of two hands, tightly clasped together. I recognized the girl's hand instantly. It was Chloe's. That meant the other hand had to be Leo's. Their fingers were intertwined, a mirror image of their childhood photo. A second message came through a moment later. "Do you really think a childhood friend can be beaten by someone who just showed up out of nowhere?" I stared at the screen for a few seconds, blankly, then took a screenshot, blocked the number, and turned my phone off. The next day, I found a public waste disposal site and methodically destroyed everything. The photos, the letters, all the small trinkets and gifts Chloe had given me over the past year. I threw them away one by one. After it was all gone, I felt a strange sense of relief. I finally went through with changing my university preference forms. Once it was all submitted and done, I turned my phone back on. My best friend, Mark, had sent me the address for a get-together that night. Ever since our final exams had ended, our classmates had been meeting up almost every day, cycling through the same familiar handful of restaurants and karaoke bars. As soon as I walked into the karaoke place, I ran right into a group of Chloe's closest friends. The moment they saw me, their faces lit up with knowing smiles, and they started teasing me. "Well, look who's here. Alex, you came to see Chloe, huh?" one of them said. "What a coincidence, she just got here too. She's in one of the rooms inside." Another one chimed in. "I told you guys, forget waiting 7 days. Alex can't even last a single one without her. Chloe is seriously impressive. She's got him completely wrapped around her finger." "I'm not here for her," I said, a deep sense of irritation washing over me. It wasn't the first time I had heard them talk like that, but for some reason, this time it felt exceptionally grating. "Oh, stop pretending, Alex," one of them laughed. I couldn't be bothered to argue. I just turned around to leave. They looked surprised for a moment. "Wow, is he really leaving? He's just trying to act tough. I bet by tomorrow he'll be back, trying to make up with her." I let out a small chuckle and glanced back at them over my shoulder. "All right then," I said. "Keep waiting." Inside the private room, Chloe glanced up as her friends came back in. She looked past them towards the door, expecting to see someone else. When she didn't, her expression fell slightly. She was sure she had heard them mention Alex's name. A feeling of annoyance began to bubble up inside her. She felt like Alex had been completely unreasonable lately, all because of Leo. He was constantly causing drama over nothing. He never stopped to consider that she and Leo had known each other their entire lives. If she actually liked Leo, what was the point of him even being in the picture? Just then, her phone buzzed. Chloe quickly picked it up and unlocked it, a faint smile touching her lips. Was it a friend request from Alex? But it wasn't. It was a message from Leo. "Chloe, can you come pick me up?" She felt a flash of impatience. They were so close, couldn't he just come by himself? "I twisted my ankle," his next message read, followed by a picture. In the photo, his ankle was visibly swollen and red, looking like a bad sprain. But Chloe's attention was drawn to the bottom right corner of the picture, to a sliver of a black pant leg. If she remembered correctly, Alex had a pair of pants just like that. She immediately stood up and rushed outside. "Chloe, my foot really hurts," Leo said, his eyes welling up with tears as he saw her hurry over to him. "What happened?" Chloe asked, immediately crouching down to examine his injury. Thankfully, it was just a sprain, and there were no broken bones. She let out a sigh of relief and spent a few minutes comforting Leo until his sobs gradually subsided. Then, she turned her cold gaze towards me. "Did you hurt Leo? How many times do I have to tell you? Leo is my brother. Can't you tolerate anything?" "Chloe," Leo nudged her arm gently. "You've misunderstood. It was my fault. I fell by accident. Alex had nothing to do with it," he explained carefully, his voice still thick with tears, making him seem both upset and a little frightened, as if he was lying out of fear of what I might do. It perfectly painted me as the bad guy. "Why are you afraid of him?" Chloe said, helping him stand up. He winced in pain as he put weight on his foot, and tears started to roll down his cheeks again. "Hold on to me. I'll take you to the hospital." She looked back at me. "Alex, apologize to Leo, and we can be done with this." I let out a laugh of pure disbelief. "Call the police. Let them check the security cameras." "There's no need for that," Chloe responded flatly. "I've known Leo for years, and he never lies." Her eyes met mine, cool and unwavering. "But you're different, Alex. You have a history. You're a liar." Chloe was referring to the third time we had a Cold War. After that fight, she had blocked me and left me stranded while our group was in another city for a math competition. I didn't know the area well and was trying to get a taxi back to our hotel when some sketchy drivers started surrounding me. Just as I was starting to panic, a girl from another school who was also at the competition, Sophie, helped me out and got me back to my hotel. Chloe was always possessive about my interactions with other girls. Even a few extra words would set her off. So I decided it was better not to mention the incident. But on the day of the awards ceremony, the girl, Sophie, came over to congratulate me. Chloe's expression immediately changed. I had to explain the whole story to her then. Although she acted like it was no big deal at the time, she brought it up every single time we fought after that, always calling me a liar. In the past, I would have felt incredibly wronged by that accusation. I would have tried my hardest to explain myself, to seek her forgiveness. But now, as Chloe said it again, I just found it grimly amusing. Was it really that she didn't believe me, or was it just that she would always favor Leo, deep down? I didn't want to question it anymore. It was pointless. "Whatever," I said, turning around to leave. "Alex!" Chloe called after me, but I didn't look back. I could hear Leo's soft sobs starting up again. "Chloe, my foot hurts. It's starting to swell again," he cried. "I'll take you to the hospital." "Thanks. I'm sorry to trouble you." "Can you walk?" "I don't think so." "Lean on me, can you?" "Stop talking special circumstances." "Chloe, you're so good to me. I remember when we were little. You always helped me just like this. I really owe you." As their voices faded into the distance, leaving only the oppressive heat of the summer evening and the loud drone of the cicadas, I stopped walking. My heart ached with a silent, tearing pain, as if it were slowly bleeding out. When you're young, you feel everything so deeply. It's not easy to just let someone go, but at least I had finally stopped crying over Chloe. My phone buzzed. It was another message from a new, unknown number. "Hey, man, you can't beat a childhood bond. You've lost." From that day on, Chloe and Leo were seemingly inseparable. Leo kept posting updates about them. My good friend Mark even found a secret account Leo had on a writing platform, which was filled with stories about his crush. It was surprisingly popular, with thousands of comments encouraging him to confess his feelings. Leo had pinned one comment to the top of his page. "I'm going to confess in 3 days. Stay tuned for my update." 3 days from then would mark exactly 1 week since Chloe had blocked me. She used to say it all the time, that a week of silence between us meant a real breakup. During our 1-year relationship, that line was her ultimate weapon to keep me in check. I'm a stubborn person. When I like someone, I give them my entire focus. Chloe was my first love. She had helped me through a difficult period with my family and the stress of my senior year of high school. I genuinely cherished our relationship. That's why I was always the one to back down, to concede, to be the first to try and reconcile. But I had forgotten that by constantly putting myself in such a low position, she naturally began to see me as less and less significant. I left the group chats that we had with our mutual friends and deleted the contact information for her closest friends, carefully avoiding any places she might be. Except for our teacher and my best friend Mark, nobody knew that I had changed my university choice. The week flew by. The night I went to karaoke with Mark, despite us picking a place in the farthest western part of town, I ran into Chloe's friends. It almost seemed like they had been waiting for me. "Alex," they said, surrounding me so I had to stop walking. "Actually, Chloe's already calmed down. You know how she is, all talk, but she has a soft heart. She's just waiting for you to apologize. If you keep this up, she's going to really break up with you, and then you'll have nowhere to cry." I just laughed at that. "Well then, let's just break up." "Alex," one of them called out, confused. "Are you still trying to act tough? You should hurry up. I heard Leo is planning to confess to Chloe soon. Don't let him steal your girl." So they knew he was actively trying to sabotage our relationship all along. A smirk played on my lips, my expression openly mocking. They exchanged a few uneasy glances, and after a long pause, one of them finally said, "Alex, Chloe really only likes you. You should go see her. She's at the spot where you two always meet up. She actually really misses you. She's just stubborn and cares too much about her pride to admit it. She was pretty jealous about that whole thing with Sophie and couldn't let it go." I didn't respond. I just felt that the whole situation was absurd and laughable, yet I couldn't find any humor in it. If her affection for me was so tangled and always came at the cost of me feeling hurt and wronged, then I didn't want it. She could hold a grudge for months over a simple congratulations from a girl I barely knew, but I was expected to be endlessly forgiving. And when she was being so ambiguous with Leo, did she ever once consider how I felt? Jealous? Bitter? I guess she would just have to wait and see. It was 11 o'clock at night. Soon, the 7th day would be completely over. Chloe downed a can of beer, but it did nothing to shake the feeling of unease in her heart. She kept glancing at the door of the private karaoke room. Every time someone opened it, her heart would nearly leap into her throat. She had never felt this anxious before, checking her phone every time it made a sound. She was so used to Alex being the one to smooth things over after a fight, and this new silence was a difficult adjustment. Chloe couldn't resist it anymore and checked her phone again. Forget it, she thought. For the past year, he had always been the one to make peace. This one time, she would swallow her pride. She opened her messaging app and sent him a friend request. "Alex, meet me at our usual spot before midnight." After sending it, she let out a long sigh of relief, feeling clearer and more at ease than she had in days. A friend clinked their glass with hers, and she absently took a sip, her eyes glued to her phone screen. But the phone remained silent, stirring a new, inexplicable sense of dread in her. Unable to stop herself, she sent another request. "Alex, it's almost been 7 days now." Still no response, like a stone dropped into the sea. Chloe's eyebrows knitted together tightly. She stared at the unmoving screen, a silent statue in the middle of the party. The once lively room had somehow grown quiet around her, the air thick with tension. Then, suddenly, The sound of the door swinging open broke the silence. All heads turned to see a classmate, panting with excitement. "He's here! He's finally here! Chloe, he's downstairs! He looks so handsome tonight. Do you want to go see?" Chloe's frown instantly relaxed. She leaned back lazily in her chair and looked at her classmate with a playful smile. "Tell Alex it's past 12, so it's too late. I'm really mad. If he wants to make up with me, he's going to have to find another way." The classmate blinked at her, completely confused. "What are you talking about, Chloe? Alex? Make up? What does that have to do with anything? It's Leo. Leo came here just to see you." The room buzzed back to life as the classmate spoke, but Chloe remained still, the smile quickly fading from her face, revealing a stark honesty. The energy in the room began to die down again as everyone sensed her mood had shifted. The classmate who had just come in looked puzzled. "Chloe, aren't you going to go down?" Chloe suddenly laughed, a hollow sound that didn't reach her eyes. "Go down for what?" "Leo's waiting for you. What does that have to do with me? He likes you, and you like him too. Doesn't everyone know that?" "When did I ever say that I liked him? I'm pretty sure I said from the very beginning that I only saw him as a little brother. But you two have been pretty close these days." Chloe stayed quiet, her gaze dropping back down to her phone. Her friend request was still unanswered. The clock on her screen had just ticked past midnight. She closed the app and dialed Alex's number, only to be met with the automated message that she had been blocked. Chloe's face darkened. She borrowed a friend's phone and called again. After a few rings, someone picked up. "Hello? Who is this?" Alex's voice was familiar, yet it sounded distant. It was clean and warm, and Chloe's heart trembled slightly. She realized she honestly missed him a little. "Hello? Is anyone there?" "It's me, Alex, Chloe." Just as the words left her lips, the line went dead. She tried calling back, but no one picked up. Handing the phone back to her friend, Chloe didn't say anything, her face an unreadable mask. She cracked open another beer and downed it in one go. Then, glancing at her classmates, she asked, "Aren't we going to go down? Let's go." "Chloe?" one of them asked, surprised. She smiled, though there was no joy in her eyes. "Yeah, let's not embarrass him. He put in all this effort, we can't let it go to waste." Leo's big public confession was impressive. He had a handsome, sunny smile and had clearly put a lot of effort into setting the scene. It was genuinely moving, especially when his eyes welled up with emotion. So much so that even strangers stopped to watch and film it, and videos of the event quickly went viral online. Naturally, I saw those videos too. The one with the most views showed Chloe accepting Leo's bouquet of flowers and him pulling her into a hug and planting a kiss on her cheek. I turned off the video without any expression on my face, as determined as I am to move on and cut her out of my heart. A person is still made of flesh and blood. I did genuinely care for her for a whole year, after all. How could I not feel at least a little bit sad? Especially in that moment when I saw Leo holding her, kissing her. For a split second, it still felt like a sharp, choking pain in my chest. I think I might need a little more time to fully heal. My best friend, Mark, silently handed me a can of beer. "No harm in drinking a bit more tonight. My cousin is going to come pick us up later." We drank a lot that night. We sang a lot of off-key songs. By the time Mark's cousin showed up, we could barely stand up straight. I felt a little embarrassed looking at the elegant girl who had come to get us. My mind was spinning, and the first thought that popped into my head was that I had better not throw up later, because her white dress looked spotless. "Alex, can you walk?" she asked, politely taking my arm to steady me. I looked at her, my vision blurry from the alcohol. "Do I know you?" Then my sluggish brain finally made the connection. Of course, Mark must have told her about me, We met last time at the math competition. Alex, I'm Sophie. I looked at her, stunned. In the karaoke room, the colorful lights flickered non-stop, and sad love songs played one after another. In the distance, I could hear the sounds of other young people laughing and clapping. Waiters rushed by with trays of drinks and fruit platters. It was a scene of bustling activity. But Sophie stood there, in her plain white dress, looking as if she were completely removed from everything around her. She seemed so pure enough to make anyone feel self-conscious in her presence. After I showered that night, I saw a new friend request on my phone. It was from Sophie. I hesitated for a while before finally accepting it. Sophie quickly sent me a message. Get some rest. Good night. I typed back, good night, and surprisingly, fell asleep almost immediately. The next morning, after waking up and getting ready, I headed downstairs to take out the trash. Unexpectedly, I saw Chloe. She was standing under the tree just outside my apartment building, just like she had so many times before when she would come to wait for me. Maybe the sunlight was just too bright, because for a moment, I was completely dazed. I almost thought we had gone back in time to before we broke up, but it was just a fleeting moment. I quickly snapped back to reality. Chloe had accepted Leo's confession last night. They were together now. After taking out the trash, I walked to the nearby post office to pick up a package. When I returned, she was still standing under the tree, just watching me as I got closer, step by step. Alex, Chloe said, stopping me. Can we talk? I have something I need to say. I ignored her and tried to keep walking, but she reached out and quickly grabbed my arm. She deftly took the delivery box out of my hand. It's heavy. Let me help you take it upstairs. I didn't even have time to refuse before she had taken it and was running up the stairs to my apartment. After my parents divorced, my dad moved south. My mom, not wanting to stay in a place full of sad memories, took my sister and moved away for work. I was the only one left in our old house. When we were dating, Chloe used to come over often. We had eaten meals together at my place, studied for exams side by side. Thinking back, the beginning of our relationship had been quite pure and simple. Chloe quickly came back downstairs. It was a hot day, and she was sweating a little after running up and down the stairs. I thanked her and was about to head back up myself, but she stopped me again. Aren't you going to invite me in for a drink? I didn't want any more complications with her. I turned away without a word. Alex, she said, her voice taking on a slightly mocking tone. Even if we're breaking up, we should at least talk it out properly, right? Otherwise, things will be unclear and people might misunderstand, don't you think? Those words were a wake-up call. Since we had decided to break up, we should make things perfectly clear, especially since I was about to leave for a new university soon and start a completely new life. I pointed at the small drink shop across the street. Let's go there. Sure, Chloe said, turning around first. I followed her across the street. The sun was blazing, and there weren't many people around, but I didn't notice a young girl in a white dress riding a bicycle at a street corner not far away. The hot wind blew her skirt, making it billow out like a sail. Maybe she was just passing by. About last night with Leo, I need to explain that to you, Chloe began, as soon as we sat down. I had no idea he was going to confess to me. It was such a big scene and there were so many people watching. I really do just see him as a younger brother. And I didn't want to embarrass him. That's why I didn't turn him down right then and there. She spoke while carefully watching my reaction. I made it very clear to him afterwards. I didn't get together with him, Alex. I chuckled, wanting to ask just one thing. So to avoid embarrassing him, it was okay to accept his flowers, his hugs, his kisses. Then in the future, to avoid embarrassing him again, would it be okay to have more intimate contact? Maybe even sleep with him? But I didn't even want to ask. Things like this had happened too many times, and honestly, I was exhausted. "What you're saying doesn't matter to me anymore," I said. "The only reason I agreed to come here was to clear things up between us. You were the one who said that a 7-day Cold War meant we were breaking up. Chloe, please stick to your promise. We're broken up now. Whatever you do, whoever you date, that's your business. You don't need to report it to me." I looked at her one last time. The blue and white school jacket she used to cover my head with during rainy days, the faint scent of ballpoint pen ink when she wrote next to me, the humid smell of the soil after a summer rain, and that light, restrained first kiss. In a sea of people, she used to walk against the flow towards me with a mischievous smile and say, "Alex, we're going to be together forever. We'll go to the same college, stay in the same city, get married, have kids, and never be apart." It all seemed like it was just yesterday, yet it also felt as distant as a past life. My eyes tinged red, but I knew with absolute clarity that I had finally moved on. "You really want to end it like this?" she asked. "A 7-day Cold War means breaking up. Yes, that's what I said. But those 7 days are over, Alex. I reached out to make peace with you. What more do you want from me?" Everything that needed to be said had been said. I didn't want to get entangled with her any further, so I stood up to leave. Chloe caught my arm again, her eyebrows furrowed, but her eyes shining brightly. "The acceptance letters will be here soon, and we're going to the same college. Alex, do you remember what you promised me?" I hadn't forgotten. Just a moment ago, I was still dreaming about it. What would our upcoming college life be like? We had agreed to rent a small apartment near campus to be around each other all the time. We would stay close forever. But childhood promises can be so fragile. "Don't make a fuss about it. I'm leaving tomorrow to visit family abroad with my parents. Don't let me worry about you while I'm away. Wait for me, Alex, and then we'll head to college together." Before I could say anything, Chloe's phone rang. She frowned briefly after glancing at the screen, then hung up. But it quickly rang a second, then a third time. Chloe eventually answered it. "Leo, what's wrong?" "All right, don't worry, I'm on my way. I'll explain everything to your parents. Don't cry, it's not a big deal. I'll straighten it out with them. I'm heading over now, 15 minutes tops." Chloe hung up and turned to me with an apologetic look. "Leo's parents got really upset and almost lost their temper with him. It all started with our fight and your friend calling him a homewrecker. The gossip got back to his parents. It's partly my fault, so I have to go explain it to them. Alex, wait for me. Don't forget, we need to register for classes together." And with that, she rushed off. I watched her through the window as she hurried away, feeling surprisingly calm, like a lake with no wind, not a single ripple in sight. Chloe went abroad. Before she left, she tried calling me from someone else's phone, but I didn't answer. Not long after she left, Leo followed her there. Their families were well matched and had a good relationship, so I imagined Leo's parents would be pleased to see them together. In truth, it's partly my fault. I was too young and naive, focused only on love, and I forgot about the significant difference in our family backgrounds. Even if Chloe wasn't so fickle, our family differences would have been unacceptable to her parents. Looking back, breaking up now was probably for the best. After receiving my acceptance letter, I started working a summer job to save money. My mom still didn't want to return. She just mentioned it lightly over the phone, offering a few words of encouragement and sending over a few $1,000s. "Living away from home is stressful," she said. "You've gotten into college, and you can be independent now. I won't be sending you any more money in the future." I felt a tinge of sadness. My dad had remarried and had a new daughter with my stepmom. They were doting on her like she was a precious gem. I saw pictures of my dad and my new sister on my aunt's social media. Her shoes were designer, costing several $100s. The first pair of brand-name sneakers I ever owned was a birthday gift from Chloe. Since I still had tuition to pay, I accepted the money from my mom and thanked her sincerely. She never replied. Calmly, I closed the chat app, got back into the right frame of mind, and continued working. I got a part-time job at a big fried chicken chain. On my second day, I met Sophie again. She claimed she loved the fried chicken there and had to eat it every day. True enough, I saw her daily after that. She was always by herself, sitting quietly in a corner, ordering a lot of food but barely touching any of it. My coworker jokingly asked me one day, "Does that girl have a crush on you? Isn't she here for you every day? She's really pretty, and she seems so clean and classy." As I filled a drink cup, I chuckled and said, "Nah, she's my best friend's cousin, and she just comes here because she really loves the fried chicken." Then the manager chimed in, "Who told you that? I've never seen her in here before you started working." I paused, glancing over at Sophie, who was quietly sitting in her usual corner. The food in front of her was untouched, and her head was down, focused on the questions on her tablet. I pressed my lips together and slowly looked away, inwardly reminding myself, "Alex, some mistakes only need to be made once." Mark comes from a well-off family, but he had told me that his aunt's family has even more money. Sophie had moved to K-City a long time ago. She was only here for the summer to visit her grandparents and would soon return to a world that was far removed from someone like me. I began to consciously avoid Sophie. Someone as sharp as her noticed quickly. That day, I received her second message ever. "Alex, do you really dislike me that much?" I stared at those words for what seemed like forever. My throat felt tight, and my chest was heavy. How could anyone dislike someone like Sophie? But sometimes, it's better not to start things that won't go anywhere. "No, you're great," I typed back. "But maybe I do feel a bit bothered. I'm planning to quit my job tomorrow." Her reply took a while to come through. When it did, it simply said, "No need to quit, Alex. I'm sorry, I won't bother you again." I collapsed onto my bed, burying my face in my pillow for a long time. Then, I typed back 2 words. "Thanks." Time flew by. For the rest of the summer, I never saw Sophie again. Just sometimes during my work breaks, I would instinctively glance over at her usual spot. Many people came and went, but that quiet, steady presence never returned. Leo often posted updates from abroad, and occasionally Chloe would appear in them. Sometimes I would bump into her friends. At first, they mentioned that Chloe had been asking about me, but I always ignored it. Eventually, they stopped bringing her up. As I was preparing for college registration, Chloe returned from her trip. She came looking for me right away, loaded down with gift bags, their logos signaling their pricey nature. "Alex, these are gifts I got for you from abroad. Whenever I saw a nice watch or a shirt, I would think of you, and I just couldn't resist buying it. Look, in such a short time, I've bought so much stuff for you." She handed me the gifts, looking joyful, yet unusually cautious. "By the way, don't listen to the rumors. There's nothing going on between Leo and me. My parents just like him, so he stayed at our place for a few days. Alex, you're not mad anymore, right?" I felt a bit dazed. Over a year into our relationship, I had almost forgotten that Chloe could have moments of being cautious and tentative. Initially, she had been passionate in her pursuit of me, but as things settled, she had always taken the higher ground, always held the reins of our relationship. But if I no longer had feelings for her, if I didn't love her anymore, what would that make her? "I'll pick you up tomorrow, all right? Let's head to school together for registration. Leo is starting school too, and senior year is tough, so he won't have time to bother us anymore," she continued, chatting away by herself. I just smiled and watched her talk. "Alex, you're smiling, so you're not mad anymore, right?" Chloe's pretty face had that familiar, confident smile. She stepped closer, intending to hug me, but I stepped back to avoid her. "Sorry, why don't you go to registration by yourself?" "Are you still mad at me?" She frowned, clearly unhappy. "I've already backed down twice, Alex." I looked at her calmly, now only seeing her as a bit of a clown. I spoke slowly. No, I'm not mad anymore. It's just that my school is in K-City. We're not even going to be in the same city. Chloe was stunned. I think it was the first time I had ever seen such an expression on her face. Her shock quickly morphed into a large pool of fear and unease, leaving only disbelief in the end. You're lying, right? If this is because of Leo, I'll call him right now and make it clear. I'll tell him to never bother me again. Linda pulled out her phone, her hand shaking slightly, but I stopped her. No need, it's not necessary. Chloe, nothing about you concerns me anymore. The night was deep, and the stars were bright. It was rare for the sky to be this clear and vast, much like my own unbounded future. I smiled sincerely at her. Let's not meet again. Alex, her voice came with the evening breeze, quivering with a sense of desolation. I didn't stop, nor did I look back. Chloe was truly just an insignificant stranger to me now. On the day of registration, Chloe actually showed up at my new university. I treated her like a stranger, not even glancing in her direction. Someone as proud and confident as her wouldn't bother clinging on either. She just kept appearing nearby, not too far, but not too close. I also ran into Sophie. Surprisingly, we had ended up at the same university. But we didn't talk. She paused when she saw me from a distance, then, after a few seconds, continued on her way. In the end, we passed by each other like strangers. Chloe stayed around our school for about a week before finally leaving. Once she was gone, I finally breathed a full sigh of relief. My new life began. Between studying and part-time jobs, my days were as busy as ever. Occasionally, I would see Sophie around campus. From the very first day, she had caused a bit of a stir. Many guys liked her. During our late-night talks in the dorm, she was often a topic of conversation. I learned a lot about her from them. She did well in school, came from a good family, and was quite amicable, yet she always seemed to maintain a certain distance. She turned down many guys' advances, quickly becoming known as the untouchable beauty of our school. I never chimed in on these conversations, nor did I mention that we actually knew each other. I suppose some people just have that effect on you. They leave a lasting mark after just one striking encounter. And that's all it is. When fall rolled around, it was my birthday. Coming back from a dinner with my dorm mates, I saw Chloe waiting at the entrance to my dorm building. To my surprise, Leo was there with her. Seeing me, Leo shot me a harsh glare, his eyes teary, but he quickly looked down, sniffling softly. Chloe looked thinner and a bit weary. She was holding a huge bunch of blue roses, my favorite, and had a pile of gifts and a cake with her. My dorm mates took their cue and quietly went upstairs. Chloe walked up to me. I looked at her still beautiful yet unfamiliar face and felt nothing inside. So I really didn't like her anymore. Alex, it's your birthday today. I don't mean anything by this. I just wanted to celebrate it with you. She held out the flowers to me, a glimmer of hope in her eyes. Seeing that look, I suddenly thought of my past self full of hope, waiting for her to come down and resume our relationship. I couldn't help but laugh. Chloe's eyes brightened. Alex, you should go. My dorm mates already celebrated with me. Don't come here again. Even if you come 100 times, it won't matter. Chloe, I don't like you anymore. No, that's impossible. We're each other's first love. Alex, you told me you liked me very much, so much more than anyone. Chloe seemed rattled. I know this is all because of Leo. He sent you those messages, those posts that made you misunderstand. I brought him here just so he could tell you himself that it wasn't my intention. I never liked him. It was all him, trying to stir up trouble. Linda roughly pulled Leo over. Tell Alex the truth. I told you from the start that I have a boyfriend and I don't like you. Alex, Leo began, seeming scared by her demeanor. I purposely made you misunderstand. Chloe told me from the start that she had a boyfriend. I just couldn't accept it. It was me, trying to manipulate her with our friendship. Those posts were something I crafted on purpose. Chloe didn't know anything about it. But you love that feeling, don't you, Chloe? I interrupted. Having two guys who like you fighting over you? If I hadn't broken up with you, you'd still be in this weird, ambiguous situation with Leo. You might not actually like him all that much, but you love how he showers you with attention. Alex, you misunderstood. I've always only had you in my heart. But I haven't liked you for a long time. That last fight we had, when we stopped talking, that's when I stopped liking you. I don't believe you. Alex, you said you're a stubborn person. When you love someone, it's for life. The bouquet of flowers fell from Chloe's hand, but she kept grasping my sleeve, refusing to let go. Let go of me! I won't let go, Alex. You can't treat me like this. It's not fair to give me a death sentence over something so small. I struggled, but I couldn't shake her off. Her grip just got stronger. Just when I was feeling hopeless, someone stepped in and pushed Chloe aside. He told you to let go. Didn't you hear him? I looked at the girl standing in front of me, my wrist sore from where Chloe had been holding it. It was Sophie. Don't worry, she said, glancing back at me before stepping in front of me to face Chloe. Chloe's gaze landed sharply on Sophie's face. After a few seconds, she let out a sardonic laugh. So it's you again, just as I thought. I knew it, Alex. You liar, you cheat. You broke up with me to be with her, didn't you? You were sneaking around with her even back during the Olympia contest, weren't you? So why act so pitiful? Alex, aren't you pathetic? Before Chloe could finish, Sophie slapped her hard across the face. The cold light from the street lamps illuminated Sophie's face as she stared down at Chloe. Try saying that again if you dare. Chloe was not one to take things lying down. She immediately reached out to hit back. But Sophie, who always seemed so quiet and elegant, was unexpectedly fast. After a few rounds, Chloe was at a clear disadvantage, though Sophie did get a scratch on her face in the process. I stood there, stunned. It wasn't until campus security guards rushed over that I snapped out of it. They pulled Sophie away. Chloe wiped the mess from her face, glaring at Sophie. Did I strike a nerve? I've known since the Olympia. You like him, Sophie, or whatever your name is. What are you doing trying to steal someone else's boyfriend? You act all high and mighty, but you're disgusting and despicable. You and Alex, two liars. You're perfect for each other. Chloe? I stepped forward slowly and raised my hand. A loud slap rang out across her face. Tears streamed down my face. I regret ever liking someone like you. What happened that night was hushed up and didn't blow up into a bigger issue. I heard that Chloe didn't press charges, but since Sophie had hit first, she received a small disciplinary warning. I thought about it for a long time and decided to text her a thank you. She took a while to reply. When she did, her message was simple. Then buy me a cup of coffee. We met at a cafe near campus. The weather was a bit gloomy that day, and the autumn wind had an early winter chill to it. Sophie arrived before I did, wearing a khaki trench coat and standing under a tree by the road, looking patiently toward the school gate. Quiet, yet patient, as if she could wait there forever. I saw the bruise on her face, still healing. There was a dark spot at the corner of her eyebrow. A pang of sourness welled up inside me. Sophie seemed like someone who had never been hurt before in her life. Alex. She walked over, the fallen leaves crunching under her feet. Does it still hurt? I asked, looking at her face. It's just a small scratch. I glanced at her bruise again, then lowered my gaze. Let's go, it's just across the street. I turned and started to walk, and Sophie quietly followed behind me. In that moment, I felt a strange sense of familiarity. It reminded me of the time Chloe had asked me out for a cold drink during the summer break, just like this. Only my feelings then and now were worlds apart. I ordered the coffee, and we sat across from each other in a quiet booth by the window. We drank our coffee without saying a word. The atmosphere felt frozen. Yet something indescribable was slowly growing between us, so much so that I didn't dare to look her in the eye. Flashes of memories darted through my mind. The Olympia contest, where she had suddenly appeared to help me out. The night my best friend and I got drunk, and she showed up to pick us up. In the fried chicken shop where I worked, seeing her sitting silently in a corner until my shift ended. That final message in our conversation, "I'm sorry, I won't bother you anymore." And under the dorm lights that night, shielding me behind her, I saw that strong back and the deep concern in her eyes. All those pieces fit together with the person sitting in front of me, and it hit me that I remembered every little detail about her so clearly. But all my courage? It felt like I had spent it all when I was 17. I recalled the first time Chloe's parents assessed me, their gaze moving from my head to my toes. Despite their attempts to hide it, they clearly looked down on me. Not long after that was when Leo showed up. I lowered my eyes, focusing on the calluses on my palms, the worn fuzz on my cuffs, my $80 sneakers, the cheapest phone model, and the cheapest coffee in the cafe. Sophie had probably never tasted such lousy coffee, but to me it was a rare treat. Her parents would surely frown if they saw their daughter with someone like me. Some things teach you a lifelong lesson after just one experience. I finally allowed myself a faint smile. I lifted my head and tried to act nonchalant as I looked at her. "It's getting late. Let's head out." "Alex?" I could sense she had something to say to me, but I pretended not to notice and cut her off with a grin. "Sorry, I have to get to my part-time job. Can't be late." Sophie just sat there, quietly. Her deep, serene eyes were like a calm pool, hiding what seemed to be endless disappointment. I looked away, afraid to keep gazing at her. She stood up. "Let's go. I'll walk you back." "No need. I'm taking the bus." "I'll walk you to the bus stop, then." "Sophie, really, it's fine," I said, finally mustering the courage to look at her directly. "I'm used to being alone." She stared at me for a long moment, and then nodded. "Okay." I thanked her once more, and left the bookstore without looking back. The wind was chilly, and I pulled my coat tighter, burying my face in my plaid scarf. I glanced down, and it felt like a tear might have fallen, or maybe it was just my imagination. Sometimes our school felt really small, like Sophie and I would run into each other almost every day. But now, it seemed huge, as I hadn't seen her since that day at the cafe. The guys in my dorm didn't talk about her much anymore, but I still thought of her often. Actually, after leaving the bookstore that day, I had hidden behind a large billboard and looked back. Sophie sat alone by the window, gazing at the pretty gift box in front of her for a very long time. Autumn passed, and when I returned from a competition with my team, the first snow had fallen in K-City. Stepping off the bus, I suddenly got a call from my best friend Mark. "Alex, my cousin has been in a car accident. My aunt and uncle are overseas on vacation and they can't get back immediately. We won't make it there until tomorrow. Can you please go to the hospital and check on her for me?" Mark sounded like he was on the verge of tears. Standing in the middle of a snowstorm, all I could hear was a loud buzzing in my ears, like I had gone deaf. By the time I reached Sophie's hospital room, it was completely dark outside. Her head was wrapped in bandages, and her left arm was in a cast. The IV drip was slowly dripping medication into her vein. She seemed to be asleep, her eyes closed and her face pale from blood loss, almost blending into the white hospital sheets. I stood at the door, looking at her face, and suddenly, tears just spilled out. Around midnight, Sophie developed a high fever. The doctor came to give her an injection, but her fever didn't drop. She kept mumbling in her sleep. I used a cotton swab to moisten her cracked lips. When I touched her forehead to check her temperature, she suddenly murmured my name. Alex. I froze, my hand stopping mid-air. Sophie seemed to crack her eyes open slightly to look at me, then quickly closed them again, sinking back into a daze. Alex. She breathed my name again. Please, don't hate me. The tears I had been holding back finally broke free. My heart was a complete mess, filled with a profound sadness and an uncontrollable heartache that washed over me, drowning all my reasoning and clarity. Sophie, I've never hated you. Never. She shook her head in her dreamlike state. Don't lie to me. He doesn't want to see me, not even once. I couldn't hold it in anymore and lowered my head. My tear-soaked lips touched her cracked ones, and I could taste the salt of my own tears. Instantly, she calmed down. A tear that had been hanging from my eyelashes fell, merging silently with one that was tracing a path from the corner of her eye. Sophie slowly opened her eyes. Alex. It's me. I'm Alex. I kissed her lightly again, trying to smile through my tear-filled eyes. Does it still hurt? Are you uncomfortable anywhere? She didn't answer, just stared at me, as if trying to confirm that this was real and not a dream. After a long pause, she finally spoke, her voice weak. It snowed. Are you cold? Alex, did you feel cold coming here? Outside the window, the snow fell silently. I shook my head, placing my face gently against her arm as tears began to fall again. At that moment, I finally let myself feel something for her.